this is the reteach for TEK A6B, which is vertex form. So number 13, given the vertex form of the function, y equals 2 times quantity x minus 1 squared plus 5. Explain without graphing how to find the vertex, and then the axis of symmetry and whether the function has a maximum, a minimum, and its value. So vertex form is called vertex form because it gives you the vertex right in the form. So if you look on your reference chart, you see this formula. So you need to say something about, well, h and k come from the equation. So h is 1 and k is 5. So that makes the vertex 1, 5. From the vertex, I get the axis of symmetry. It's a minimum because when I look, 2 is positive. So a is greater than 1. So it opens this way, which makes the vertex a minimum. And the y value, this is the minimum value. Y equals 5. Okay? Alright, so next, using the key attributes in number 13, sketch the graph. So the first thing I'm going to do is plot the vertex. So that's at 1, 5. So here's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right here. Okay, this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis, and I am going to just go by 1. So I'm put a 1 here and a 1 over here, and that'll be enough to let the person know what the scale is. Okay, then I know that the y-axis, the y-axis you need to put a 0 in for x. And solve for y, and that'll give you your y-axis, -1 squared plus 5. Be careful when you put that in the calculator. You need to use your parentheses. If you just type in -1 and then square it, the calculator thinks you mean the opposite of 1 squared. It's going to tell you -1, but you know -1 times -1 is +1. So don't just go by what the calculator says. So y equals 7. So your y-intercept is 0, 7. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right here. So then I'm going to dot in my axis of symmetry. X equals 1. And I'm going to reflect that point over. And there's my graph. Okay. All right. 14. Now we have a graph, and we need to write the vertex form of the graph. So I am first going to find my vertex by looking at the graph. That's right here. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2. And then I'm going to find my y-intercept, because I can find that easily. It's 0, 3. Then I will write down the vertex form formula and substitute in what I know, because it is not just enough to say that this is, well, x minus 1 squared plus 2, unless you've solved for a and found out that a equals 1. So I think a lot of people wrote that down and got credit, but it's not always that simple. You have to solve for a. So I'm going to erase this and show you what I mean. You can't just assume a is 1, and you can't just look at that and go, oh yeah, it's 1. So y is, okay, so y is 3, x is 0, h is 1, and k is 2. Okay, so I got those from here. This is h, k, this is x, and y. Okay, so you have to solve for a. So we just use order of operations. 0 minus 1 is -1 squared plus 2. So I'm out of room. Hang on. Okay, so down here. So I'm just going to put this down here. So 3 equals negative 1 squared is 1. So 1a, or just a, plus 2. Subtract 2, and you get 1 equals a. Okay, so in this case, it's 1. So it does work out that your vertex form is, write it up here, y equals 1 times x minus 1 squared plus 2, which you just write as y equals x minus 1 squared plus 2. Okay. Okay, so last question. Now we have the vertex and a point, and we're going to write a quadratic function in vertex form, and then we're going to convert it to standard form. So again, this is hk, this is xy, and I write down my form from my reference chart. Y is 3, a is what I got to figure out, because I don't know that just by looking at the points. X is 2, negative 2, sorry. H is negative 1, so it's minus negative 1 squared plus 4 is k. Okay, so 3 equals a times, that's negative 2 plus 1 squared plus 4. And that is negative 1 squared again plus 4. Oops. Okay. And so 3 equals a plus 4. Subtract 4, and see here you get that a is negative 1. So when you write your vertex form, it's y equals negative x minus 1 squared plus 4. And if you just assume a is always 1, you would get this one wrong, because you need that negative sign. Okay, now to do standard form, you basically just go through and do the math. You just expand this binomial and then combine like terms. So we have y equals opposite x minus 1 times x minus 1, that's what the exponent means, plus 4. So I'm going to go do this binomial multiplication first. Don't forget you have a negative sign out here. That's x squared minus 2x plus 1, and then I have a plus 4 on the end. Oh, hang on. Let's move this over here. Okay, so now I'm going to go distribute my negative sign. Minus x squared plus 2x minus 1 plus 4. Now I'll combine those like terms, and the standard version is negative x squared plus 2x plus 3. There you go.